Mini skirt on, take my body in glitter. Platform sneakers, all the boys want a picture. Two foreign cars, I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya. Mini skirt on, take my body in glitter.
Hello. You are now tuned in to the A Little Bit A Lot podcast. I'm your host, Kristen. Welcome back to another great week. How are you guys doing? Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that it is November already. Like, I feel like every year this time of year comes around, everybody's like, where did the year go? But like, for real, let's be for real. What happened to 2023? Huh? Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's a collective feeling that a lot of people feel when it comes to the pandemic. Like, after the pandemic, I don't really know what is time. You know? What is time? It's going by too quickly. I blink and then the year is gone. That's crazy. But yeah, I've had a good week. Thanks. What am I trying to say? I was going to talk about Thanksgiving and I was going to talk about Halloween. But I meant Halloween. With Halloween, since it just passed, the weather has been crazy. I live in Michigan. I'm not sure if I said that before, but the fact that it snowed on Halloween is crazy. Like, notoriously in Michigan, I feel like every Halloween we have such crazy weather. But for some reason, this Halloween, it snowed. And me and my sister hung out. We watched some spooky movies. We got some pizza. And when we were coming back in the house, we were just like, ooh, like, what is going on? Like, this is ghetto. Like, why is there snow? And we were both just mutually agreeing that, like, this might be Mariah Carey at play. Like, Mariah is hard at work to make sure that people are ready to just move past Halloween or something, because what is going on? And then of course, like, that night, Mariah posts that like funny video where she's defrosting and being like, it's time, like, ready for Christmas. That's crazy. Snow on Halloween is insane. I just feel like in Michigan, we don't really get a chance to really enjoy fall except for the month of September. And then once October comes around, those cold conditions go away and it just goes like straight freezing and then snowing. And half the time it snows on Thanksgiving and it just feels like winter. Like, I don't really feel like we get a full fall moment here. So that was annoying. But yeah. Anyways, of course, since we're at the top of the episode, before we get into the subject, which obviously, as you saw in the title, this week's episode is all about the plus size experience, growing up plus size, everything to do with that. But before we jump into that, you already know I gotta tell you guys to like this video if you're watching on YouTube, to let me know that you're feeling the content, and subscribe. I'm on my journey to my first 100 subscribers on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe. And if you're listening on Spotify, I appreciate that. Make sure that you leave me a 5-star rating. And of course, on Spotify, there is a follow button when you go to my podcast. Make sure that you click that, so that way you're following the show and you're keeping up to date with every new episode when it drops. And of course, if you're listening and tuned in on Apple Podcasts, make sure you give me a 5-star rating and a review to let me know what you think about me and the show. So yes, plus size experience. I don't want this to be like too much of like a depressing episode, but I knew that it was something that I kind of wanted to just like touch on lightly, with just processing like what was my, plus size experience and just everything when it comes to that. And I would just say that, growing up, like, in my family, being a bigger person just was never looked at as a good thing. And I have like a big like health conscious like family on my mom's side. So it's all about like wake up at 5 a.m., go on that walk. My grandma's a mall walker. She's like very big on her exercise, and it's always just been about like stay away from fattening foods, check your calories. Maybe you should go on a diet. I mean, me and my sister got sent to fat camp um once, where we learned how to make like healthier food choices and exercised, and they taught us how to like make wraps and stuff with like deli meat and salads and things like that. Which a lot of people, when they have like a fat camp experience, it's not particularly a good one, but with my experience it kind of was good, so thankfully, that's a good thing. The people there were really nice. The kids there were, fun. I made friends, and it didn't really feel kind of like that, like boot camp type of energy that I know some people have had experiences with. Ours was just truly just like making it all like fun and kind of just focusing on the fact that like eating healthy doesn't have to be this dreadful thing. So that kind of like helped in the moment. But yeah, like in general, being a bigger person is just not really something that's like too approved of when it comes to my family. And just especially given like, like I've mentioned before with how my mother, views herself. So I guess that kind of like projected onto how I view myself. And there was just, people in my family who would just always talk about like, oh, she needs a better bra. Why do people with like, bigger chests have to suffer? That's so annoying. Like, I don't want to wear one. But because I've been, given the body that I've been given, and people are critiquing the saggage, like, I'm not going to defy gravity, yo. Like, I can't defy gravity. I'm sorry to let you know. If you thought I was some type of meta, it's gonna sag, babes. Like, that's annoying. And then just like always having comments of like pointing out my stomach, and being like, oh, you should do sit-ups. You gotta really get on that treadmill. Gotta do better. We gotta stop eating out. Yada, yada, yada. So there have always been comments made about my body from my family. The only person in my life that really hasn't made me feel bad about like my size is my sister and my dad. So yeah. But I was like reflecting on different plus size experiences, and of course I have my iPad here, handy dandy iPad mini. And what originally made me want to like talk about this was because I saw this funny TikTok by this one content creator. I'll have to tag the video in my description. I forgot what her name is, but she made a video where she was just like talking about plus size clothes. And she's like, if you want plus sizes to sell, why you keep making them ugly as hell?
Brands really be wondering why plus sizes don't sell, but if you want plus sizes to sell, why you keep making them ugly as hell? Why do I gotta get it in the mail? Why can't I go to the store like everybody else? Everybody else, they got it on the shelf. They got it on the rack. They got it in the bag. I gotta wait for the stock online. Baby, why? When I am this fine.
I mean, seriously, why are plus size clothes so ugly? And I think that that's like a universal experience that I feel like a lot of bigger girls can relate to growing up. Like, you don't really have access to the cute clothes and the Bobby Jacks growing up that other girlies are wearing. And like during my era, we had, Aeropostale, Hollister was hot, Rue 21 and things like that. You can't really fit into those clothes. So then when you try to wear the plus size clothes, like they're all ugly, and it's giving I'm just like a mother of two already, and I'm only in middle school working in corporate America with a button up. It's absolutely ridiculous. Seriously. And then even when it comes to stores like Lane Bryant and things like that, like it's great that they have, specific places to go to for those plus size options, but they don't really have like the cutest clothes. Up until I found Torrid, they have a lot of like cuter plus size clothes, but even then Torrid wasn't an accessible thing for me until recently. They did not have a Torrid in my mall at all up until a few years ago. So it's great that I can at least go to the store now and have that one place guaranteed to have some decent looking things in my size. But other than that, like, it wasn't accessible to have cute clothes that were in my size. So that was really frustrating because, like I said, growing up in the era of Aeropostale and Hollister, when you're in middle school, you want to be able to fit in. You want to be able to wear what other people are wearing. Well, we all know notoriously Aeropostale like doesn't have plus size clothes. Do they now? I don't freaking know. But I'm just speaking on my experience growing up, there definitely wasn't plus size clothing. I wasn't able to fit into anything when it came to trendy clothes like that up until my 8th grade year. And that was only because I tried out for cheerleading and lost a little bit of weight. And then I was able to kind of like start going to Route 21 and wearing the biggest size that they had there, and going to Aeropostale and wearing the biggest size they had there. And I remember when I got my first Aeropostale shirt, girl, like, I was gagged and gooped. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing. The shirt was a little snug, but at the end of the day, I got it on. And that's all that mattered to me in the moment. But it's like, that is just so awful to not be inclusive in that way. When these clothes are trendy and this is what the people are wearing, and you can't even really wear what everybody else is wearing. Like, it was an isolating experience for me growing up. Like, I'll just never understand. And even like one prime example that I can think of when it came to, like I mentioned, me doing cheer, because I was a cheerleader in 2nd grade, and then I stopped for some reason, I can't remember, and then I started cheering again in 8th. And when it came time to getting our uniforms, wouldn't you know, the uniforms, they aren't this like custom ordered thing. Like, when it comes to the uniform tops are just like, they're not yours. They're property of the school. So they have to be like basically hand-me-downs. So they have just this like bag full of all of the cheerleading tops that my cheerleading coach would pass out, and then that's yours for the season. So you have to keep track of that cheerleading top and, make sure you're washing it, getting it dry clean and stuff like that. And we had a hard time finding one that was my size. Why is it that the sport of cheerleading, it's notoriously not made for bigger girls? Like, anytime that I see a plus size cheerleader, I am gagged, because that's an isolating experience in itself. Why are you saying that just because I'm a bigger person, I don't have the right to be able to participate in a physical activity? Like, your fatness doesn't equate to health, right? Sometimes you can be a plus size person and be healthy and be active. Like, there's plenty of girls that I've seen that are models that are plus sized that exercise regularly, and they go hard just to maintain that weight. Because, newsflash, not everybody wants to be less than a size 10. There are some people who are personally comfortable being in a bigger body, like myself. Like, I have been on a weight loss journey for the past like year, but primarily since this April. But I don't ever plan on getting down in the 100s. Like, you got to be too something to do something. Like the Juicy Body Goddess says on TikTok, like, gives away those, prom plus size dresses for the girlies. Like, if you ain't too some, you can't do some. Being in a smaller body in that way is not something that interests me. I just feel like my head would just be too big and it would just look too weird. And that's just not something I want. I want to be able to have some meat on my bones. So, newsflash. But yeah, like, cheerleading is just not an inclusive sport. They don't keep in mind, the bigger girlies. Like, just because you're bigger doesn't mean that you can't do a toe touch. It doesn't mean that you can't do anything. And if anything, you need those bigger girls, because who's going to be the base of the freaking pyramid? You're telling me that you want these smaller twigs children to be on the base of the pyramid when there's so many girls stacked on top of them. They aren't built for that. You need somebody kind of sturdy like me and the bigger girlies to hold it down. Like, why isn't that considered, So that was really annoying. Like having that one experience in middle school, like not being able to, barely being able to fit the cheerleading top. I mean, thankfully it did fit, but I remember I had like an emotional reaction about it. Went to my dad's house and I was crying and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I don't really like the way that my cheerleading top fits since it's kind of snug. My rolls are showing, which now it's like a roll is a roll. Who cares? But at the time, I was always made to feel like the rolls were supposed to be invisible. Like if your rolls showed at all, then people would know you're big, which is such a crazy thing to think that clothes can hide your size. That's not true. Like, no matter what you put on, people are still gonna know that you're plus size. Like, so you may as well show the rolls. But at the time, I didn't want the rolls to be like accentuated. So that was annoying, like not being able to have it fit the way that I wanted it to fit. But eventually, I did lose weight as the season went on and it fit better. And I feel like, if anything, I was like one of the best cheerleaders there. I was seriously dedicated to it. I really enjoyed it. And I always got compliments from my coach being like, guys, see what Kristen's doing? Do that. It was something I was really good at. Just because I was a bigger person doesn't mean that I couldn't kill it out there in competition. That year we went to competition for the Michigan level. We got second place. 8. But yeah, so like I said, Aeropostale kind of goes into that. Not being able to fit that. Rue 21. I remember one time I tried to get matching t-shirts with my best friend at the time. Had to get the biggest size there. Was barely able to fit that, but I made it work. And I think one thing that also felt isolating, like I said before, with Torrid, we didn't have a Torrid at the time. So the only way, like within recent years, before they had added it, that I was even able to get plus size clothes was either order it online or drive about almost an hour away to this outlet mall where they had a Forever 21 that just happened to have a plus size section. Why is it that every Forever 21 doesn't have a plus size section in it? Because we had a Forever 21 at the mall that was 5 minutes away from my house and they never sold plus size clothes. But the Forever 21 an hour away did. Like, to this day, when I think about it, it just makes me so irritated. Like, why do I have to travel an hour away to get the cute Forever 21 clothes? And then when you do go to that one, the plus size section that they have, it's kind of minimal. They don't really have a ton of stuff, but I was just happy that there was at least something that when I'm able to go shopping with my friends, I can at least have some place that I know for sure that I can at least find one shirt, a t-shirt, a sweater, a sweatshirt. Other than just, because we all know like the plus size experience when you're shopping with your smaller friends, you're really only going to be able to leave with accessories. That gets annoying. Oh, I found this cute necklace. I found these cute earrings. No, I want clothes. I want clothes. I don't always want to have to get an accessory and have to get some shoes or have to get a bag when I shop with my friends. I want to be able to wear what they're wearing too at the time. That used to be so annoying. But yeah, it's just so difficult. And then you have to think about like shapewear. That's annoying. Growing up, I think I was always influenced by my family to wear shapewear. And I feel like that's like extremely problematic now that I look back at it, because why was I in 6th grade wearing a girdle to school? What is a girdle in 6th grade? Oh, when I told my therapist about that, her jaw dropped like, ooh. OMG. a girdle in 6th grade. Ugh. You're only like 11, 12 at that time, I think. So embarrassing. Because I used to go to a school that had my elementary school, middle school we wore uniforms, but every so often we would be able to pay and have a jean day. So of course every jean day I had to try to scramble to find a new outfit, and I wanted to look snatched. So I put that girdle on. Special thank you to Smart Labels for sponsoring this episode of the A Little Bit A Lot podcast. Guys, Halloween just passed, and do you want to know the one thing I struggled with this year? Figuring out which storage container I even put my Halloween decorations in. I had to literally pull each container out and check them all because I couldn't remember which item was where. Each year, people get their holiday decorations out, and inevitably they can't find that one thing they want to put out. So with Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, save yourself the hassle and try Smart Labels. They help you catalog all the stuff you're putting in your storage containers. So when you go to find everything again, it's as simple as a search in the app. If you want your storage to stay organized, search for Smart Labels on Amazon or visit qrsmartlabels.com. I remember we had a school dance, and I'm just like dancing a cyclone, hip rolling with the girdle on. That's so humiliating. I'll never forget also one time when we were like laying down in my classroom, and my teacher was like reading us a story or something like that. And me and my friend were kind of like in the back of the classroom because we were all like sitting on the floor in front of the teacher. In 6th grade, so all of the students are like kind of jumbled together, and we're sitting behind the mass of the students. And as we're laying down on this beanbag, I remember she pointed over and was just like, oh yeah, I think she was talking about my shirt or something like that. And was like, oh yeah, I like your shirt. And like patted my stomach. And it was what was that moment?
That's what she said. And you know what? What was that? Okay, James.
Because when she felt my stomach, of course you're going to feel that hard girdle up underneath there. And she was like, what was that? I don't even, like, I cannot even remember what I said back. I think because the trauma, the embarrassment that caused me, my brain has just like Control Alt deleted it. So I really don't remember what my response was. Like, I really try to think, what did I say back? But I can't remember. But no, like that is just so humiliating. Like I should have never been pressured to wear that. Like, why is it field day? I don't know if that's like something that you guys have had growing up in elementary, but we used to have a field day at the end of the year where it was like one day where we didn't have to do, work. We didn't have to go to class or anything like that. And they would bring like snow cones. We would have like a petting zoo in the backyard of our school. We would have bounce houses and inflatable slides. You could go in the gym and you could play Dance Dance Revolution. They would have like a Wii. We'd be able to play the Wii and kind of just roam around the school and go to whatever area, whether it be inside and do activities or outside. And at the end of the day, as long as we kind of like came back to our teacher, then we were good. So you had that sense of freedom. And it's like, we're going outside playing tug of war. We're getting crazy. It's getting physical. Why am I wearing a girdle? Like, you want to be able to feel free so you can move around and have fun and tussle, and you're like, the girdle's exposed. Now you see the shiny black material and people are like, what's that? No, like it's tired. And I think the one last thing that I was thinking about when I thought about this subject was just the fact that, like, I've mentioned before, and I say it 1,000 times, brats. If you hear me, I would love to work with you. And I would love to work with your partnership that you have with Velvet Caviar. With those phone cases. Those Bratz phone cases are super cute. And they have the AirPod cases as well. But anyways, Bratz, growing up had such a big impact on me. I'm always a Bratz girl down. And we all know that the typical phrase for Bratz, their slogan is passion for fashion, right? And in turn, that made me be like, oh my God, I have a passion for fashion, because in theory, even though my body wasn't able to fit in a lot of the fashion styles of the time, that doesn't mean I didn't like them. I don't know if they thought that maybe plus size girls don't like fashion or we don't like clothes, but we do. So I'm keeping up with all the magazines, keeping up with Fashion Week, like from a young age. What's new in this collection? Keeping up with designer. What's up with this? Who's wearing that? Like I said, growing up in the age of South Pole and baby fat, Kimora Lee Simmons was eating up those clothes, okay? Like that era was unlike any other era. I want to see what's the latest baby fat drop. I want those baby fat shoes. I want that South Pole jacket. I had a red South Pole coat that had the fur around the hood. You couldn't tell me nothing. And we all know the worst thing when you grow up, when you have that fur around the hood and you put it in the dryer and then the fur gets all mangled. Ugh. But yeah, and then even in that era of like the pastry shoes. Does anybody remember those with Angela Simmons and her sister, where they dropped those shoes? Ugh. Like, I was here for all things fashion of the times. What are the people wearing in the music videos? What is Ciara wearing? Stuff like that. Because I had that passion for fashion. So in turn, I wanted to be able to show that externally on my body as well. But of course, I wasn't able to because none of the cute stuff was in my size. And I think that in turn made me have a bad personal relationship with fashion, where it's like ideally and mentally I love fashion, but I just know that it was something that I could never get into if I wanted to, because it wasn't as accessible for me and my body type. And that used to really hurt me, because it's like, I'm supposed to be this cute, quirky fashion girly who loves Bratz, and I want to be able to dress like a Bratz doll, but then none of those clothes are accessible to me. And then in turn, my relationship with fashion, was bad. And I think that I often had, negative feelings and associations with shopping. And I think that that's something that is a super universal experience for all plus size girls out there. And growing up, my mom was always taking us to the mall. We were always in Sears. It just seemed like for hours. Like, why does my mom need to spend so much time looking at bras and underwear in Sears? And why is it that we have to spend so many hours trying on uniform clothes for the school year? And on top of that, my mom loves a good clearance. So we were always looking at the clearance rack. She was always trying to find something in my size that could work. And at that point, I had just given up, because I'm like, I'm never going to find anything that's cute, that I like, that's available for me. So I don't want anything to do with fashion. I don't want anything to do with shopping. Like, it's a chop all the way through and through. And that was really something that was really hard for me to deal with and accept, because of the integrity of what Bratz even stands for at its core. Like, looking back, in the moment, I would just be like, oh, it's not that serious. But it's like, it is. Like, nobody really wants their relationship with their fashion choices to be bad. And here we are now in 2023, and my younger sister is now being my new inspiration, where she's always wearing, cute earrings. She always has on some type of cute top or a cute little cozy dress or a sweater. She wears different type of jeans. She'll have baggy jeans, boyfriend jeans with rips in the knees, and have different cute little shoes. And it's like, my sister is truly the definition of the passion for fashion. And even when it comes to just like a quick Target run, like she's gonna have that stuff on. You know what I mean? She doesn't want to be caught dead if she's in a bummy outfit, you know? Where I think, you know, especially after college, I kind of just turned straight to just like athletic wear. I'm going to have my Crocs on, some leggings, and a t-shirt that may or may not have holes in it, or some dingy hoodie with like cotton balls on it. It's like, this is depressing. So my sister has always just like this year especially been getting on me to just be like, please, I don't want to keep seeing you in leggings anymore. And it was really cute because a couple of this past weekend she came over and she had a surprise for me, and she got me these like cute flared like jeans that were like orange, because I feel like a lot of plus size girls, they're not orange, sorry, green. They were like these olive colored pants. And I feel like a lot of plus size girls will notoriously wear black because you just feel like that's going to make you look the slimmest and you can kind of just be like low key. But, you know, her and my boyfriend are just like, we want to see you in color. We want to, you know, you to start feeling better about yourself and expressing yourself with your clothes. And I think that now that it's 2023 and I can like kind of get past like the inaccessibility part of it all, because now there are more options for me and I'm able to kind of like set the tone for what I want. It's a little bit more exciting to kind of like go into this journey soon to be like, what is my style? What is my sense of fashion? What do I even want to wear? Because I'm feeling a lot better about my body now. Because before it was just like I said, I felt like it was something that I had to hide and be ashamed about. But I've learned that you'll only get one body. And if it's the one that's given to you, you need to love it. You need to cherish it. You need to nurture it. And there's no point in bashing something that gets you through every day. This body wakes me up and it gets me through anything that I've ever gotten through. And for that, I am so appreciative that it hasn't given up on me. Things could be way worse. I could have some serious health issues, but thankfully, like even with me being plus size, lab work is always good, you know, things like that. Like I'm relatively healthy, and for that, like I need to be kinder to myself and be okay with the fact that like I am who I am. I love how I am, and people in my life that I want to be in my life now make me feel safe in that too. And I think that's one big thing that is hard for being plus size, that sometimes when you grow up, you have to realize that those triggering people who basically are fat phobic, yeah, babes, you're going to have to cut those people out. They're not going to make you feel good about yourself. Surround yourself in people who are body positivity focused and aren't going to make you feel awful about the way that you look, because really, being in a bigger body, how is it that bad? Seriously. So yeah, I just feel like going forward, I'm excited to explore my fashion identity more, you know, get more into different styles, trying new things. And I think that it's also been really nice because now we're kind of in the age of the Fashion Novas and the Sheins and stuff like that, where they have so many different plus size options. Like anytime I have an event to go to, like recently, the most recent one that I needed like a good outfit for was the Renaissance tour. Finding so many different plus size options just on Shein alone was just like so heartwarming and validating. Because even though like we know that it's part of, you know, fast fashion or whatever you want to call it, like it's all we got. So I don't really, you know, feel that great that I have to be a contributor to it, but what else am I gonna do? You know? So, I mean, just even like the top that I'm wearing right now is from Shein. So yeah, that's just like I said, something that I'm looking forward to with getting better with how I feel about fashion, and still just kind of being like true to that brat's like mission, having that passion for fashion, being okay with being yourself and loving you no matter what your body looks like, because at the end of the day, it's the one that you were given. So love on it. But yeah, like there's just so many different things that I feel like I could think of when it comes to the plus size experience, where people have made comments and just be like, I remember one time my aunt-in-law was just like trying to teach me how to make tacos and was just like, so how many do you normally eat? And it's just like, you guys be trying to set me up for failure. So if I said 6 to 8, then what would you say? So then you feel like you gotta kind of keep it cute and be like, oh, I eat like 3. Like, girl, please get out of my face. Or are you worried about how much I eat and when I don't eat? Like, oh my God, I'm so over it. And then not to mention, the plus size experience for a lot of us, can include issues with binge eating. Ooh, that's not fun. I could just do a whole nother episode specifically dedicated to binge eating alone, because that is something that I'm like actively recovering from and still kind of going over and talking over. But that's not fun. Like having that emotional eating that can come from that trauma. Because I think a lot of times with my binge eating, that ended up starting because I didn't want, when I was living with a family member, she would often judge like what I ate when I ate it. So then you kind of just want to like grab as much as you can, bring it up to your room and hide away. And that can cause you to just eat away your emotions. That's not fun. I'll have to do like another episode talking on that, because that's something that I'd have to like really, really sit down and think about. But yeah, like overall, I just think that, to anybody out there who may be struggling, like I know that it's a journey, and especially when it comes to being a woman specifically, there are so many societal expectations of what we should and shouldn't look like put on us, that it is so easy to look online, see different bodies, and then compare yourself. And I think that was one thing that I was always doing. Okay, I'm going to restart my, weight loss journey. I want to look like this. And it's like, I'm so tired of that. I'm so tired of feeling like that, of comparing myself to what somebody else isn't doing. I want to just be able to focus on me and my journey and what I want for me, not what social media has influenced me to make me think that I want. So that's been something that I've been focusing on too. So just know that if you go through that, you're not alone. And if you have people in your life tell you that your body is not good enough, you're not alone in that either. And I just want you to know that no matter what size you are perfect as is. We're human beings. We're supposed to have fat. We're supposed to have cellulite. And then it just makes me think like there are just so many other pressing issues in the world where it's just like I often think about space. Like, what's going on with that, Galaxies. We've got the Titanic submarine explosion. Tons and tons of pressure in the water can quite literally, just in a snap, take you out. What's going down there in that ocean? There are so many things in the ocean that we don't even know about, that we haven't even discovered, that the human race will probably never even be able to fathom. And you're worried about a roll on my body, or if my stomach hangs over? Like, you know what I mean? I think that's something that helped me kind of process the way that I feel about myself in like any way when it comes to that. Like, there are so many other mysteries and other important things in the world that we need to be thinking about. Space, time, the ocean, the sea, exploring other parts of the world. But then the human race decides to make people feel bad about what they look like. We need to be worried about what, aliens potentially look like. Ooh. Let me know, guys. Do you believe in aliens? It's just crazy to me to think that we could potentially be the only species, So you're telling me there's no other colonies out there of different metas? Okay, I'm getting off track here. I don't want to be like some conspiracy theorist, but sometimes I think about it like, what's up with that, But anyways, yeah, those are just like a few different things that I feel like I thought about with considering my plus size journey. And overall, F it, we ball, Plus size is going to be plus size. And I'm here and I'm representing, and it's a place that I want to be in. Not everybody wants to be in a smaller body, and that's just that. So love on you. So moving on to the favorite segment that we all know and love, favorite thing of the week. My favorite thing of the week. Oh, let me do the favorite thing of the week. Favorite thing of the week. My favorite thing of the week is Trust by Keisha Cole and Monica. I trust you. I love you. I want you, baby. I need you, baby. I breathe you. Never leave you. Life wouldn't be the same without you. It's a throwback song for sure, but it just reminds me of like middle school and like the good old days. For some reason, that song like came into rotation when I was listening to like all of my likes on YouTube on shuffle. And I was just like, oh my God, like this really used to be my song. I have said before that I'm a Keisha Cole stan, okay? Keisha Cole, that music can do no wrong. So I'm going to have to add that to the favorite song of the week playlist. I've mentioned it before. It's a playlist where I add songs that I'm feeling or that I mentioned or guests have mentioned on the show. So you can find that linked in my description, or you can find it on my YouTube under the playlist section. I'll be sure to add that. But yeah, Trust by Keisha Cole. That's been the vibe for this week. I don't know what it is about every winter where I kind of just get into that cozy comfort bag with my throwback songs. It just makes me feel so warm. But yes, there's just so much more that I could talk about with the plus size experience, but those are just a few different tidbits. So sorry if this was kind of just all over and random and stuff, but it is what it is. There's plenty of more time to talk about different things. So if you happen to be plus size, let me know if there's anything that you would like me to discuss or experiences that you would like to share, that I can share on future episodes and stuff like that. I do have a link in my bio for you to send me anonymous messages, so you can do that there. Or my DMs are always open on Instagram and TikTok at A Little Bit A Lot Podcast on both. So yes, thank you so much guys for joining in this week. I appreciate it. Shout out to all my plus size content creators holding it down. We need that representation because humans come in all different shapes and sizes, period. Okay. So again, like I said at the top of the episode, make sure you give this video a like if you felt what I was talking about, if you like the content that I'm giving you guys. Subscribe if you're feeling the show. On Apple Podcasts, make sure you give me a 5-star rating and leave me a review letting me know what your favorite part of this episode was or what your favorite episode is in general. I'd love to know. And also on Spotify, like I said, make sure you click that follow button on the Spotify app under my podcast page, and make sure you give me that 5-star rating. So again, thanks for joining in. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.